Today is Thursday, November 8th. We always begin with a prayer and a pledge. And I'm going to ask my pastor, John Powell from Emmanuel Baptist Church, if he will please lead us in prayer, and ask Mr. McRae if he will lead us in the pledges. So if you will all stand, and also if you'll also silence your phones. Thank you.
Father, we come before you recognizing that government is a blessing from you and that you have designed it for our mutual benefit. So we pray for supernatural wisdom and guidance for these, my fellow citizens here on the board, as they make decisions that will affect us all for our prosperity and for our good. And we receive this from your hand as a gracious gift. But Lord, we pray that through your supernatural power, you would turn this to the glory of Jesus Christ. And it's in his matchless name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to you, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go out of order just for a moment. We have a grant for a local business, and this is for La Casita Mexican restaurant. I'm sure everybody has eaten there more than once. And so Steve and Alex, if y'all would keep us right over here, this grant is to them for $20,000. So if y'all get us over here, we'll take a picture real quick.
Come down here.
Okay. Everybody good? Ready? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Want to make sure we got it. Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is comments from members of the audience, and we have to sign up to speak with us, Mr. Duke Walton. If you want to come forward, Mr. Duke.
I'm an area chief of Texas Parks and Wildlife, and I do the area north of Humboldt to the Louisiana border, from Waco to the coast. And we always struggling to find a place to do our classes. I know Miss Brenda Webb very well, and I was asking her, she told me to talk to Frank. Frank said, no problem. On September the 30th, we did a new instructor class. We had 7 ag teachers. What most people don't know is that no pass, no play law. Part of that was if a kid's in ag, the school district is required to teach the 100 Ed program, which takes a big load off of us as the instructors and the game wardens. The problem is we had 7 new ag teachers that had not been certified in 100 Ed. They could not teach this semester until they got to class. So we were able to schedule the class on September the 30th. So I had 7 new ag teachers, most from the local area, one from Conroe, one from New Caney. And so anyway, they're now instructors. We had 3 other instructors, one coming as far from Beaumont and from Lufkin. But we really want to appreciate it. I got a certificate of appreciation I'd like to give y'all. And so it was a wonderful class. It's a beautiful facility, and we really appreciate it because Texas Parks and Wildlife needs all the help we can get. Thank you very much.
Give it back over to you.
I'm just gonna move. Right here. Yes.
There are a couple more, yes.
Just come right, just move. You'll be sick right now. Yes, here we go.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
You can put the flash on top.
I think there's,
Lift up. There you go.
I guess there's enough light, it's not needing it, so there's about 6 pictures on here now, so.
Thank you.
You will.
Perfect, that's beautiful.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, dude.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from the meetings held October 11, 2018 at noon and October 11th at 5:30. And before I take a motion to approve the 12 o'clock noon meeting, there is a change that needs to be made to reflect that Director Pearson was not present at that meeting. And before we do that, we would need to table the 5:30 meeting minutes since they are not included in our packet. So we will table those for the next meeting, but I will go ahead and take a motion to approve the new meetings with that change. I've got a motion by Director Martin and a second by Director Retz. Any discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous, thank you. Okay, the next item is approval of the community development grants.
Yeah, let me talk through this. Part of our process in going through the approval of these community grants, there's a partnership between ourselves and EMCID and Mission Northeast to bring some additional Hurricane Harvey relief funds to the district. And in our action last week, we just need to restructure how those grant funds are allocated. Mission Northeast is serving as a pass-through for EMCID to utilize the funds that they had. They needed some matching funds, which our part of that is to provide the matching funds. And they needed a local nonprofit, community-based organization such as the Mission for the funds to flow through. So putting all those 3 partners together, worked through a grant process that allowed funding to come to our community to address some of the needs that our cities have for future mitigation for emergency services. So in doing so, we just need to reapprove the funding for the way that we have it structured, utilizing the Mission as the recipient and the funds will be dispersed. We've written our checks to the mission, EMCID has written their checks to the mission, and the mission is presenting those checks with all of us together this evening to the entities receiving the funds for the requests that they had. So thank you again to our partners, EMCID, and to the mission for making this happen. It took all three of us working together to make sure that this was possible for our community. And I just want to say again, thank you to everyone. And if you guys would like to go through the approval process the way the motion is written, then we can go ahead and present the checks to our recipients.
Okay. So we have a motion by Director Carlisle to approve.
Second.
And I heard a second by Director Pearson. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you. Okay, so that takes care of the EMCID.
And then with that, Pam, would you like, or I think Tracy, you want to go ahead and present the first check to Wood Branch?
Yeah, we can.
And then our board with everyone will present the other checks to the other communities. Okay.
My board members, you guys want to? Can you take a picture and just email it to me? Great pleasure that we present $4,000 as video footage for the reconstruction of Magnolia Road, which was damaged in Hurricane Harvey. You are certainly welcome, certainly. We appreciate you all and everything that you do. We'll show you.
And the first one of these is going to be for the city of Patton Village. So, Leah? Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. And that check was for Next we have City of Splendora, Dorothy. Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. City of Roman Forest bids. Yes. No, it's for this.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Thank you all for what you do.
So once again, I want to say thank you again to Entergy and Mitchell. Thank you guys so much for helping us make this.
Okay, next one, our community development grants, from the grants that we submitted that the board had a special meeting on, and so, we'll go over those. The first one, was for the Boy Scout troop, 10-11 for $5,000. Someone wants to make a motion to approve that? Okay, we have a motion on that one by Director Rogers and a second by Director Zapata. Is there any discussion on that? All in 5,000? And so all in favor of approving the $5,000 grant to the Boy Scouts? And that is unanimous, thank you. The next one is the Catholic Daughters of America, also for $5,000.
So moved.
This was for the AED machines. Okay, this is a motion by Director Martin and a second by Director Rogers. Any discussion? All in favor of approving that? Unanimous, thank you. The next item is Cub Scout Pack 39 for $3,840 for a new trailer. Motion by Director Rogers and a second by Director West. Any discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous, thank you. Next one is East Montgomery County Sports Association. That's a $30,000 grant request. Okay. Motion by Director Pearson. Second by Director Zapata. Any discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous, thank you. Next is the East Montgomery County Swim Team for $5,000 for the diving blocks. Motion by Director Rogers and a second by Director Carlisle. Any discussion? I had a question. Is there anybody here from the swim team? I've got one quick question. These are not permanent structures, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and does New Caney ISD, are they aware that they would be brought in and set up and all of that at their facility?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So prior to writing the grant, I got approval. I cannot store them there because it is our property and not their property, but for swim meets, we can bring them, put them on there, be able to swim both sides, and then take them out and just go them.
okay. And insurance is carried by the swim team?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Those were my questions. Did anybody else have any?
Where are they going to be stored at?
Luckily, one of our swim team board members, husband works at a place that has a storage facility as well, and they let us store for free.
Do you know where it's located? Or?
Oh, yeah, it's the Kingsmere storage,
Okay.
it's right
Yes,
there.
okay.
Yeah, so we use one of their, buildings that's locked up, and he works there every day, so he monitors it, and it has security, so.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All in favor of approving the motion, the grant? That's unanimous, thank you. Next is a grant request for $30,000 to East Texas Dream Center. This is a request that is outside of our district, so I would need a motion either to approve or not approve this grant. I've got a motion not to approve this by Director Pearson and a second by Director Rogers. Any discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Did you ever have to do one?
I did not.
Okay, so all opposed? Abstaining? Okay. All right, thank you. We have one abstention. Motion passes. The next is the Friends of R.B. Tullis Library for $10,000 for reading material. Okay, motion by Director Retz on that one. Second by Director Martin. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Moving on. Mission Northeast for $30,000 for renovation of its building, among other things. And a motion by Director Pearson and a second by Director Carlisle. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Opposed? And an abstention. Director Retz abstaining. Motion passes. Montgomery County Precinct 4 Constable's Office for $4,800 for body cameras. I have a motion by Director Carlisle to approve that, and a second by Director Retz. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you. Montgomery County Youth Services for $5,000. That is to send kids to summer camp, for 20 kids to summer camp. Okay, got a motion by Director Retz and a second by Director Zepeda. Any discussion? All in,
Is Carlisle gonna go swing on the swing?
all in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you. The next item is for $1,671.32 for New Caney High School Spirit Band. I know that we've had, go ahead, make a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, a motion to approve by Director Carlisle. And a second? Okay, I've got a second by Director Rogers. Any discussion? I was just going to mention that I know that before we've had bands come in and request that we did not fund because it fell under the school, funding for the schools. So, I just was.
Is this falling under the school?
It's the Spirit Band, so it's the club, so it's the Booster Club that's requesting the funds.
You have a representative here, you have a question.
Yeah, but yes, if y'all have any questions, we can ask the representative. I just know that in the past, this board has not funded grants presented by booster clubs because they are through the schools. So I'm just putting that out there. So does anybody else have any discussion?
I would just like to say, I mean, I don't know what the rules are, but I've been out there at the game, and I don't see how those kids load that trailer up, all that equipment. There's no lights in that trailer.
Well, you're right, we've done that, but I think we looked at what we were purchasing at the time, with things like uniforms and things that we felt like that the school probably had more responsibility in providing. I mean, I know I'm splitting hairs and making it up as I go along, but I see this as a little bit of a different request.
Yes. And I agree with that. I just wanted to point out that we have in fact, and I want to acknowledge that we have, because I don't want anybody from any other clubs to come back and say, you didn't appoint.
This is something they do outside of school.
It's still a booster club, and that's just the point that I'm making. I want to make sure that it is addressed, and so that we don't.
I think as much work as we've done on setting criteria for the different community grants, there's still a lot of gray. Whereas, we utilize all of the community grants only for ISD-related activities. The needs are great, so, I have mixed feelings about this as well.
So, anything else? Any other discussion? All right. All in favor favor of approving the grant? Okay, all opposed? All right, the motion passes. The next item is for Devaney ISD Education Foundation for $20,000.
So, great organization, great cause, STEM grants, close to my heart. The problem is, as I look at the application, I cannot find documentation of where they funded their 33% matching. They used their profit and loss statement as evidence that they have the additional funds. And they absolutely do, but they don't say where that they're committing those funds to fund these 4 grants. And the way I understood it is that they're setting aside 4 grants that we're gonna help fund, where they did 10 or 15.
Okay, hold on just one second before you do that. Let's get a motion on the table so we can open it for discussion.
So I guess my motion would be that it doesn't meet the requirements of our grant application the way I read it. So my motion would be that we have to reject this.
So a
I
motion
wanted
not to approve.
A motion not to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table not to approve the request as presented. And we would just need a second in order to discuss.
I'll second for the board discussion.
All right, there's a second from Director Rogers to open for discussion. I'm sorry, Director Carl, you will continue.
It's my understanding that they fund more than just these 4. They isolated these 4 to show us where our money's going. So they fund greater than the match. But I'd like to.
I think you're probably right.
I didn't see it in the documentation, I get that, but.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. I think they funded more than 33%. They just didn't show it. And I hate to be that way, but we've not done that in the past on some of these.
Well, we had the same problem one time before when they applied last year.
So if they can provide evidence and amend their grant, we can consider it at a later meeting, or does this pass up to the next grant period?
I would say, is there a representative here from the Education Foundation? I would say since it was an incomplete application, that we should not table it. If the motion is to not approve it, and then have them to reapply at the next grant, writing session. That would be my suggestion, but the motion is not to approve it, and that's what we need to vote on. Any discussion before we make the vote on not approving the grant based on an incomplete application? All in favor?
So I do have one question. So since I started this, my question would be, if we vote it down and they have to reapply, that's a minimum of 30 days. And I don't know what their finances are like, but if we tabled it, would the turnaround be quicker than 30 days?
They funded the project yesterday.
But that's my point.
And stepping in on that, we have never, we want to do, we've never done that before. If it was incomplete, it was incomplete. And so just to be in the interest of fairness, just like within the last couple ones we did, the board can vote how they want to, but it needs to be stated that the application itself was incomplete, and we have never allowed any other grantor to amend their return, paying taxes, amend their request for the grant. So that being said, then we need to go ahead and call for a motion. The motion on the floor is to not approve it, and this means all in favor of not approving it. So that's 6, and opposed is 2. Motion passes. That's a tough one. The next item on the grant list is Containing New Horizons for $17,045.36. And that's for telephone and internet service, so we would need a motion on that one.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
To approve?
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve by Director Zepeda and a second by Director Martin. Any discussion? They're a wonderful organization. We all know that. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. The next item is Glendora High School project graduation. This is for $5,000 for their project graduation. So we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Sorry.
Motion by Director Rogers and a second by Director Wetz. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the motion? And it is unanimous, thank you. The Heartwork Foundation. This is a $5,000 grant request for heartworm prevention for dogs in the area.
Is this based here in the district?
This was is there anyone here from, okay, could you please come forward so we can ask some questions? I'm sorry, what was your name?
My name is Tara Tennant.
Tara, okay. Did you want to ask her?
Yes, I'm trying to remember where the business is located. Is it within the New Kings, Glendora?
We are a 501c3 that works with the Montgomery County Animal Shelter. And on the application, we would be coming to the New Caney area. We, part of our explanation was they are the largest intake into Montgomery County Animal Shelter. New Caney is for heartworm positive dogs. So we wanted our 501c3 to come back into the community and try to get ahead of that problem and do it for people in your community. We would bring in a vet, they would do heartworm tests, education, prevention, and we would probably team up with the Montgomery County Animal Shelter where they would come out and do vaccinations and so forth and make it basically like a healthy pet day, but we would
Would be within the Glendora property area or district per se, not in the woodlands.
right. We actually don't have a business. We don't have our PO box is the Woodlands, but we're all volunteers, so we're not actually. We don't have an office or any of that. So basically, when we were looking at it, we were looking to target an area that is the highest intake for Montgomery County, and that is New Caney for strays and heartworm positive dogs.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you said it was on a first come, first serve.
It is.
Can you remind us of how many animals would be served in the area?
I have, off the top of my head, I have to look back at the grant. What is it? It was, 40, I think it was roughly, the cost would be around $117 to $120 per animal, I think was on it. So it would be 43.
And did you have a veterinarian already who had
We did 2 bids, and so we had 2 veterinarians that gave us estimates.
And is either one of them from this area?
Dr. Cooper is not from this area, and Dr. Washington was was contracted to Montgomery County prior. So if we needed to, we could get one from this specific area. It's very likely that they would actually just donate their time. So really the cost would be the meds. On there, we do have a cost, what Dr. Cooper allocated would be her cost for, to basically evaluate the dog before they offered up the test or the treatment. But
Just to clarify, because I think this is a good service, my concern is that the service we provided here within the New Caney Glendora area, that they wouldn't have to go to the Montgomery County shelter.
No, we would come, we had, I think, we had mentioned it when we presented, that we would do it at one of the locations actually in New Caney, like with one of the commissioner's buildings, or we would find a place, it would be New Caney residents. And it would be first come, first serve, and that we could partner up with another group that wanted to offer spay and neuter vouchers and vaccines, and the shelter has now a trailer that they can bring out to do vaccinations and so forth. So it would be specifically targeted for New Caney residents.
And with that in mind, personally, I would appreciate it if it would be a local veterinarian. Since it is in this area, I don't know if they would donate their time, I mean, if they were going to anyway, but I know we have several really good local veterinarians.
And we could definitely do that and see, and it might actually work out if we couldn't find a New Caney vet that wanted to donate their time, one of the shelter vets would probably donate their time to come out, because that is essentially helping them down the road if they can get ahead of the problem.
And this is just, how often, I mean, you just do 43 period and that would be it?
Basically, it'd be something that we'd like to continue going forward. Right now, we treat dogs at the animal shelter for doctors and rescues. And we do that with fast kill treatment and we do slow kill offsite. So this is just slow kill in your community, basically for education, awareness, and treatment. But initially off the bat, it would be 43 dogs. On the average, it costs about $1,000 to treat a heartworm positive dog if you adopt it and take it to a Woodlands area vet. So we can do that for, a lot less and basically help out your community members.
Anybody have any questions?
Are you talking about prevention or treating the dog with heartworm?
Both. So what would happen is on that day, say we started at 8 a.m., the first 43 that come through, they would do a heartworm test. If that dog tested heartworm positive, that vet would then prescribe, they would be doing slow kill, they would prescribe the antibiotics, and they would give them a year's worth of the heartworm preventative. If that dog tested negative, heartworm negative, they would just be giving them a year's worth of heartworm prevention. They would not be prescribing the antibiotics. So there's two methods of when you have heartworms in the dog. There's fast kill and there's slow kill. Fast kill is a 3-series imidacide injection, while slow kill is antibiotics and preventative. So we would be doing both those days.
I got a question. Do you have a way of documenting dog? You pretty much understand how much it costs per dog you treat and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a way to document so that you can provide to us something to assure us that every bit of money that we gave you is?
Oh, absolutely. We could use our receipts from the antibiotics, the doxycycline, and the heartworm preventative. Mhm.
Well, and actually, that's one of the requirements at the end of the
Right,
grant. It's
turn-
turned in to show that where it's spent. So.
Which is very typical of any grant.
When y'all are marketing the event though, you're marketing it countywide, not just our area, correct?
No, we'll market it specifically to your area. Those are the only people. It would be a zip
What kind
code.
of marketing means would you guys use to get the word out?
Well, probably the first one that would probably have the highest reach is the Montgomery County Animal Shelter has 176,000 followers on their Facebook page. We would probably go to various vets or various places within your community, and we probably use social media, honestly, since we're a small nonprofit. That's the least expensive, but we could use putting out an ad in one of the local newspapers. But when they do it for spay and neuter, or like there's a program called Fixing Montgomery County, they get a very wide turnout, just because it is definitely something that pets are expensive, and that preventative is expensive too. So it's definitely something for people that can't go to a vet and pay for that. This is a much needed.
So I think that leads into the question, how do we ensure that the people coming are from our area? Well, how do we know that
I think you'd have
if you have
to,
43 clients, 32 of them are from Kingwood? So how do we prevent that?
I think you could use your driver's license. You're gonna have to show proof of ID that you live within this geographic area.
With a bill or so, driver license or something.
Right, and that's what they do with other clinics. Because they do like low cost spay and neuter clinics, so you pay $20 if, if you meet this criteria, but you're paying $60 if you don't, but they also target them geographically.
But you guys could submit those, I'm just trying to get back to how do we account for that? You guys could submit those addresses back to us for reimbursement as you do it, is that? You tell me how it works, I'm just trying to make sure that.
Well, I guess it also ties into how the grant process works, right? But if you wanted us to have those addresses and those names of 43 people that did that, I think that's very easy to do. When they check in that day, they have to show proof of ID and their address,
That's easy.
and we make a digital image of that and we submit it back to you.
You drop a pin and it's either inside the district or it's out. We do that with employment criteria. So
Right.
if you guys drop a pin and it falls within our district, then it's a reimbursable cost. If it's outside, then it's not.
Mhm.
Something like that, I don't know, that's what we've done on employment criteria sometimes, so just a thought.
Right, with technology, I don't think it's that difficult.
Anybody have any other questions?
just promise me that you're gonna give our local vets an opportunity to tell you they don't wanna participate.
I will do it. I will do it. I will start on that, which I do understand. Honestly, if I were to go back and do it again, I would target them and see how many of them would be willing to do. And it's interesting with vets, some of them are okay with slow kill, a lot of them don't subscribe to it. So that's part of the division there.
Well, if they won't help you, there's an ag teacher at Splendor High School named Eric Johns that runs an excellent small animals program. He's probably got some kids
Okay.
Fantastic.
But yes, I will definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you very,
Thank you.
very much. Okay, so we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion, but also include in the report what federal second
All right.
Second? I couldn't hear you. Oh, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the funding, but they have to show proof that the treatments are being done here, for the residents here.
And use the local vet.
And Director Pearson has seconded that motion. Did you want to do something? Oh, the thing.
And use the local vet.
And use a local vet.
Yeah, but the only problem with using a local vet, like you said, if they can't get a local vet to do it, then she would get one of the
Right.
vets from the animal shelter to come over and do it.
Well, she did promise that she's gonna try.
Well, we can't promise that.
But she did say she would.
Yeah.
She said she would.
I think we should let her try, and if she can't, then we have to still, if she don't get a local vet, it's still better than not having a vet at all.
And Dr. Zach Stevens is, he's done a lot. He's in our area, and I'm sure he would be willing to step up, so. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of approving the grant? And that is unanimous, thank you. Next is the new Kings Colony Property Owners Association for $25,936.22 for playground area. To approve? Okay, we have a motion to approve it by Director Pearson, second by Director Carlisle. Is there anyone here from the owners? Thank you. I'm sorry, what? Your name,
My
please.
name is Savannah.
Savannah. Thank you, Savannah. I wanted to ask a question, and I don't know if it's in the application now that I'm about to ask it. Do you know what the difference was between the equipment and how much the signage was?
I can look, I think the sign was around 9,000 something, for the total price. And then the playground equipment varied, there was a couple different selections. I know the beautification committee liked one or the other a little more. I think one was 26,000, one was like 32,000. So I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, that's why I was just.
Yeah.
And also, the homeowners association or the new homeowners association will maintain the equipment, is that correct?
Yes.
And oversee everything?
Yes, and have liability.
Okay, and let me ask you this other question. Would the homeowners association be willing to buy the sign if the improvement district did the funding for the playground equipment? Would they fund the sign if we amended it for that? Just so that the homeowners association would have some skin in the game.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
That's the only reason I'm asking.
Yes, and if it makes more sense for you guys to fund that over the sign, and that was my first question. These are the things that were brought to us by the beautification committee, and there's some learning curves in this, and I'm new to this application. I'm very thankful for everything you guys are doing. So the fact that this is even an opportunity for them is huge. It will help them take a lot of pride in their community and hopefully even pride in their own properties there. And that's kind of the goal, is to give them a little hope and a little bit back, to see that there's a lot of people that love them, care about them, and needs to know how awesome they have too. So I think that's a great idea to do it that way, and it's a little bit better for you guys to support the playground.
I just think we all know that when you're given something, it's like it doesn't have any meaning because you didn't sacrifice to get it. But if you have to sacrifice something to have a part of it, then you're more apt to take care of it.
Right.
Does anybody else have any
Hey,
questions?
When you were here before, when you made the presentation for the grant,
Ms. Conlon was here, I was asked.
right, I asked her how many lots that they had in there, how long they had been in service,
1,051.
how much was their dues, and it was $180 in dues.
Now, but it used to be 90.
Okay, I figured up that that was $3 million.
No.
Well, that's how much you figured up.
It's $180 per lot.
Let me
per
finish.
year, yes.
That it would, because when you're in a homeowners association, the homeowners are responsible for theirs, and the developer is responsible for the lots that he owns.
And we don't have a developer active.
You don't have what?
We do not have a developer that's even in the picture anymore. His last name is on the plat, I believe, from the 70s. His last name was Johnson. I've tried to track that guy down. I've done so much research. I wish I knew where he was.
That's $3 million that he hasn't done anything with.
Well, there was a lot of money stolen from the first president. Her name was Ira Crane. She passed away last year. And when she got out of the picture in around 2007, no one had a lot of trust in the POA anymore. She went to prison, and I think her rich dad bailed her out, and she got away with it. She was with Casey Interests. They still were selling lots not too long ago, not even getting people in these. There's a lot of other investors, people becoming very popular for people to take their 401k, go buy property and sell it on owner interest finance. So we have a lot of investors in this economy, and somebody who's a community manager of the property owners association, trying to educate these individuals about how things work properly is a goal of mine. And having neighborhood watch, I know the constable's office, precinct 4, Jim Clark has been really good to me and plugging me in with good resources to help this community thrive, because it's their kids that are going to be growing up with your kids and your grandkids, and you want to get ahead of any problems that might be happening out there. And we know that there's a lot of them. But you have the 2 years financials. I can go back even further, whatever you want to see, that I can show you that we have high delinquency rate in that subdivision, very high. I mean, by the due date, I have half the people paying their POA dues. And then by certified letter date, our delinquency rate's around 33%. The owners?
The jurisdiction of the developer.
There's no development on property anymore.
There's no owners?
There's no developer active in that community. He's already sold. He actually went to U.S. embassies all around the world. I've heard stories from so many people, some have passed it now, and it's been passed to their kids. But very, very interesting stories about that original developer. But, and then when Ira Crane from Casey Interest stepped in and started investing in properties there, she mismanaged the funds greatly, and she had a lot of properties, and then Holland Bridge purchased a lot of properties in that subdivision. I think they owned about 30 to 40 lots last time I checked, a lot of those in the floodplain. And most of their people that they have owner interest finance notes with as well, they own the property. They're the ones paying the taxes. It's not those investors. But and then there's John Alexander from the Woodlands, and not throwing names out to bash anybody, but those are the investors. So we don't have a developer. There's no responsible party for me to say, hey, come fix all these problems. This guy in 1970 didn't follow through with. So I wish there was somebody come here too.
I'm very familiar with what's called the person who redeveloping stuff and sold a lot of the lots, and I'm very, very aware of all the situations. I actually agree with funding both projects because I understand after doing a little research. Tell me where the idea for the sign in the park came from.
Beautification Committee, and Maria Jordan from Texas Family Council. She has worked really well with me. Jim Slack is actually the one that introduced me to her many years ago, and I'm a part of her committee now in that group. So I value her for bridging the gap. I'm trying to learn Spanish, but not there yet. So it's been very nice to have her and see them take pride in their community, and I think that good things are going to happen with this.
Did the Colony Ridge influence anything on that side at all?
No.
Did
That
they
was,
even know about it before?
no, not until the annual meeting when the beautification committee had asked for it, along with bus stop lights, which they've approved in there. We're also trying to, depending on what the cost of this is, whatever funds that we have left for this year will be going towards asphalt to finish Cambridge Boulevard so the buses can drive safely on that road. And then also to finish Kings Row with asphalt. And we're just going to have to do one side and then figure out what to do together because we don't have enough money to pay both sides. So one side, like you've seen it on Precinct 4 is done on, let's see, the west side. That's how it's going to be all the way down on both sides.
Did the POA ever receive a letter of determination from the IRS?
We actually got a letter from the IRS that said they were still processing it, so if that's something that's gonna hold up our application, I can let you know whenever we get that.
Yeah, until they deem you, until you receive that letter of determination that says you are in fact a nonprofit, actually, until it's.
Right, and that's crazy. I was talking with.
And it
our
takes a long time, because it takes
Wonderful.
6 to 9 months from the time you submit the application.
Okay.
So, and do you know when the POA was organized?
I think it was 2001, it was reincorporated by one of the original owners.
They don't have a letter of determination since
Those
2000.
the records that I got when I started managing it in 2013, we had that from like 2006, and then we just had like, those are filed, so it's easier to get those, but I had no letter of determination, and I was like, why not?
Do you know if they have filed, or current on their 990 filings,
On their 990.
which is their tax returns?
No, they do their tax returns every year, but it's not a 990.
It should be a nonprofit 990.
It's
And
a
franchise.
1120H and a franchise class. Is that what you meant?
Well, no, 1120 is a corporate return.
1120H, it's a C corporation, nonprofit C corporation.
So if it's a C corp, it's not a nonprofit.
So did they file it incorrectly? Because it's nonprofit on their articles of incorporation.
But until the IRS determines you to be a nonprofit, you're actually going on.
Okay, so we need to wait for that letter, because we did submit.
If the tax returns have been filed as an 1120, that is a corporate return.
Okay.
A nonprofit return is the Form 990.
Okay, because the other POAs that I've managed in Magnolia and Montgomery, they also file an 1128.
And they will not receive a letter of determination, because that is the IRS's form for a nonprofit.
And none of those have ever had to apply for a grant like this, and that's probably why they didn't know, but it's good to know, so I can.
Well, whoever's handling it should know. I mean, whoever's doing their book should actually know.
Well, I have a vote for the CPAs, and I'll have a talk with them, maybe they're not used to filing for nonprofits.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
I know this community, I applaud your efforts, I know that they needed help, and certainly like to help them. So it's good to see that you've got an organized plan, and just thank you for the work.
Absolutely, we're excited about it.
The other thing is, I would like to bring up, because we've already done this twice before, we had Northwest Ranch POA to apply for a playground equipment that we did not approve. And that, of course, does not set precedent, because there is nothing for the children of Kings Colony. Absolutely nothing. And that would, just for me, there's a huge difference between the two. But I want to acknowledge that we did in fact decline the one to Northwest Ranch. So that being said, anybody else have any questions?
So now we just need to see this again.
Yeah.
Okay,
Please.
so March.
So we make this happen.
Okay, and then we'll have the termination letter. It will be good. Absolutely, thank you.
But the motion on the table is to approve it. So all in favor of approving the grant as presented? All opposed? Reluctantly abstain?
I'm saying, 'cause I don't, this one, so I'm saying.
I didn't see those names.
I want to say,
You're abstaining also?
Okay.
Okay, yes, okay. So the motion is, it does not pass.
Can we also note that we would like them to reapply in March with the 501c?
Absolutely, because the criteria was not met as one of the previous grant requests.
maybe if they can't get that, maybe they'll work on somebody else, yes.
Abstention was Stephen Carlisle and Leonard Rogers. Okay, the last one is for the VFW post 4816 for $30,000. This is for a pavilion, smoke-free pavilion outside of their building headquarters. So we need a motion on that one. Okay, motion by Director West to approve, and a second by Director Zepeda. Any discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous, thank you. The next item is to authorize the 2018 Constable Patrol patrol security program at shopping centers.
That's, again, that's just to keep you aware, it's time for that to start. And I don't know that we need to authorize anything to start. It's in our budget for the year, other than to make you aware, remind me the dates again.
This Saturday, January 15th.
This Saturday through the 15th of January. So just so you all are aware. And we did have some discussions about shortening up the time a little bit from what we did last year, and compressing that time and ensuring that, if it incorporated utilizing the funds and having more patrolmen on the ground, we thought that was important as opposed to stringing it out and having less. So a more concentrated effort, and then also ensuring that we don't go over budget. And what we budgeted for this year is another criteria that we want to be sure that we're complying with there. So that's set to start this Saturday. So y'all be watching out if you're picking up stuff from the store. I'm just telling you, constables are on you.
So that was, that's something we brought up at the truck citizen meeting Monday.
Yeah.
And everybody looking forward to that.
Okay.
Didn't we have it been on last year for that?
We did.
But I just so there's no question, so you'll know, I thought that during our discussion, we said from November 15th through the 6th of January, because that was when they stopped the last year. Was that they stopped on the 6th, but they stopped early last year, they didn't go to the 15th.
I think it was the year before, they stopped on January 11th instead of January 31st.
Well, that was this year, I mean, they stopped January this year.
No, I think it's the previous.
Okay, I'll need
But
to be
this
sure
year
to tell
they
them.
stopped on the 15th.
Why do we run it through January anyway?
Because people returning their things through the first of the year.
But most of the activity was not in October, and previously we had started October 15th,
Right.
and there really wasn't a whole lot, so if you kind of concentrated, the couple of months where the activity is really strong, then we thought that would be better.
I love this program. And we have Valley Ranch now. It's a little bigger than what it was. And just don't bring me a budget amendment for Oak Ridge.
Well,
I love this program, but don't bring me a budget
I
amendment.
talked to Gary Welch today, and they do have mounted patrols set up to patrol in the Valley Ranch area. Here's
What all the,
Sorry?
What is the budget?
70,000.
Yeah, 70,000.
what's the,
Which is about a 20,000 increase from where it started, I think.
That is correct.
So it's adequately funded.
Absolutely.
And if it's not adequately funded, we need to look at cutting back some days.
Which is why we changed it, because it wasn't adequately funded last year. Did you?
what areas are they gonna patrol?
All of the areas. North Park,
And I'm not sure, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm not sure we want to identify that in a public forum, as far as where they're going to be patrolling. But I think the easiest way to
They're good at what
understand
they do.
is the major retail centers would be, but I'm happy to talk to you afterwards and tell you exactly where they're going to be. But I don't think we'd want to say that on camera and then, have our little friends from somewhere else see where we're patrolling. So I don't think that's a good idea.
Good idea.
okay, the next item is the status of the agreement with Montgomery County EMCID 7 regarding the ladder truck.
And everything is signed and finished as far as I know. We just need a copy of the final agreement. You've seen it, right?
I was told
Who's got a copy?
the fire department,
Okay.
and Jan said she would get one to me immediately.
So Jan is on it.
Jan's on it.
Okay.
Was it?
She must have left and went to go get it right now. Man, when she's on it, she's on it.
She was here for the mission, not the fire department.
The next item is the status of the developments, the district's 12.85 acre site.
And nothing to report on the site right now.
And the next item is the bookkeeper's report. Kathy. How are you, Miss Day?
I'm Joe.
Good evening. You also have your supplemental bookkeeper report for the checks that were presented today for signature. Page 2 is your account balances. In your operating account, you have $3,439,173.13. Your capital projects, $97,861.96. Debt service, $1,269,326.25. And then your debt service reserve, $744,309.80. And in your events account, $97,490.96 for a total of all funds of $5,648,162.10. Page 3 is your cash flow for this supplemental report. You had a balance forward of $779.73.60. You did receive your sales tax revenue for this for the month, but it's received in November, so it was from August. You received $1,090,357.96. You have checks presented tonight totaling $130,573.82, leaving $1,738,857.74 in the checking account. The budget would be just any additions from those checks that would be considered an October invoice. And on page 7, you have your sales tax revenue history. And I was mistaken, it is for September. We're 2 months behind on the sales tax, so you received it in your September allotment in November, and it was for $1,090,358. And your sales tax history is on that, on page 7. The rest of the report is unchanged. If you have any questions on either report, I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Anybody have questions? Okay.
Okay, we're gonna have some conversations on real estate property and negotiations. So you don't have to stay afterwards, because we'll have some lengthy discussions on some project incentives during executive session. So you don't have to stay. One of our conversations relates to about $2.5 million being available to award a project for an incentive agreement for a company to expand the industrial park. And in going through our cash flow, I visited with Joe, and he did an analysis as our CFO, and also Kay, you do an analysis, and it will be tight. Don't get me wrong, it's very tight in regards to being able to accommodate that, but we can do it from the improvement district's perspective. I just want to make sure that you concur with that, and Joe, again, just for y'all to be aware that we can actually fund that ourselves if we choose to do so. So just so y'all are aware of that. We will be talking about that in executive session, but if you really want to wait, you can wait, but at least I want to go ahead and answer the question, since we're talking about financials, and that at least the board can hear you guys say that we can manage it, but yeah, it's going to be tight. Okay?
That's exactly what we discussed, that it would be tight, with it being going out throughout the year, one payment at a time, will be manageable.
Anybody have any questions?
So we can do a set aside letter or a available funds letter for in connection with funding the contracts.
Can do whatever, if you'll just let me know.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, you financially we can't do that.
Yes.
Rick, you have a question?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Oh, okay, thank you. Make a motion.
We didn't do that, did we?
No.
We'll make a motion to approve your report.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Motion by Director Wetz and a second by Director Martin. Any discussion? All in favor? I think it's unanimous. Thank you, Kevin. The next item is reviewing the order to establish policy of investment of the district's funds and appoint an officer.
There's a you have adopted in the past investment policy. You all are familiar with that. There's a requirement in the law that you annually review it and make the changes that you deem necessary or that the legislature may require. The legislature has not been in session this last year. It's not created any new events that you need to address. So my recommendation to you is that you just adopt a resolution continuing what you already have, and next year we'll see what the legislature brings for you to do.
Make that motion.
Motion by Director Martin, a second by Director Pearson. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. And next is the engineer's report. That's you, Joe. Yeah, it's very, very
First item is the Weimer building. We've gone forward with permits. They should be issued within 2 weeks. So be ready to go. Next item is Silver Third. We have 9 meetings.
So are we deferring on awarding the contract? Is that fair?
I think that's something we're going to do after executive session, because we want to talk about Ern Weimer and their growth, and we'll want to do that after executive session.
Contracts, Eric, we got to do something now. That's all.
All right.
Silver.
No dirt.
Okay.
No dirt sales. The last item I have is plat. This plat is done. We finally got everything settled. We're submitting warrants and everything. It's going to take 8, according to the county, 8 to 12 weeks. We'll update everything once they approve the plat. Yeah, that's all. Any questions?
Anybody got any questions? Thank you, Joe. Next is announcements. Any announcements?
Saturday's Sawmill Festival.
Saturday is summer. And you know, any of you who showed up to,
I'm getting ready to tell you. So just a couple things to talk about. Sawmill Festival, like Fred mentioned, there's a reception party thing before the evening before Friday night. Open house for the district is December the 3rd. And in regards to attendance at Gator Bayou, Bonnie called this afternoon and said their estimation was they had 5,223 people attend the event. So let you know that we exceeded the 5,000 number that we were, anticipating. So 5,223 is the number. And then the last thing to let y'all know about, and I want to say thank you to Stephen and Brenda and Martin and Fred, particularly Kelsey Seabold sent out a press release this afternoon that Kelsey Seabold has closed on the property at just north of North Park, and that project is now underway. Kelly sent out some messaging relating to that. Kelsey Seabold sent out a press release, so you might see that in the paper tomorrow. We're sending out some additional information related to the project, welcoming them to the area, and we'll put up some signage down the road, and so everyone can identify and see where it's going to be built at. In addition, this location will also serve as the Kingwood location. They were looking at doing, I think, more than one location in our area, and this one will be oversized. We were originally looking at about 40,000 square feet. This one will actually be 55,000 square feet. So again, I want to tell you guys spent a couple hours with me gathering signatures. We spent quite a bit of legal fees on ensuring that this project comes to the area, and I just want to tell you all thank you for your help in doing that, because without your all's assistance on getting those signatures, the people you knew and the relationships that you had in the community, this would not have happened. So I just want to tell you all thank you for that, and we're very excited about Kelsey Seabold being a member of our community in the future. So thanks again.
any other announcements?
Right here.
Okay.
I just want to bring up that the Sun Citizens Christmas deal is the same day as ours again.
They need to change that.
They think we need to change it. Anyway, it's not a problem, but also our battle line on 59 came from Harville.
That's right.
Tomorrow night. And isn't part of the ticket sales going to Camp Harvey or something?
Camp Hope.
Camp Hope?
Yes, ma'am, Camp Hope. It goes to the PTSD.
PTSD. That's awesome. Okay.
Your local community college is having a big works of Shakespeare. Actually, it is a summary, or it is the unabridged and revised complete works, and it is hysterical. It's at 7:30 tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday. And so 38 semis rolling into the college to replace the furniture lost to the park. So we need to be up on January 4th. So you might want to stay off the sorters and that.
Thanks for the warning. Anybody else? Okay, then we will recess to executive session to discuss real property matters. To discuss real property matters pursuant to section 551.072 Texas Government Code pending or contemplated litigation pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code, matters in which the duty of the attorney to the district under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with chapter 551 Texas Government Code pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code and economic development negotiations pursuant to section 551.087 Texas Government Code. We are in recess at 6:44 p.m. Okay, we're back. Okay, let's go on, so we can get out of here. Number 13 is the,
10A.
I'm sorry?
10A.
10A, thank you.
What time did you start?
10A, oh, the Weimer Technology.
Yes, and again, Joe presented you the bids at the last board meeting. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So Joe presented the bids and the low bid for the Weimer building, and we just need to approve that and authorize the award of the contract for construction of building number 2 for Weimer Technology.
Okay, so we need a motion. Motion by Director Carlisle and a second by Director Rogers. Any discussion?
Yeah, did we review bids? Where are the bids?
You reviewed them at the last board meeting, but we just didn't approve them.
I'll tell you, if you want, I can take this a little bit. It was,
Well, remember he said the bids were coming in a lot lower
It
than
was,
what it was?
yeah, it was Russell.
It was like a lot. Lower.
okay.
380 something thousand.
Yeah.
All right, so
2.5 million.
Joe got 7 bids, plus one late one. The low bid was submitted by C Builders LLC in the amount of $2,572,000. He recommended award to them.
Joe recommended that one. Okay, so is that
That's my motion.
C Builders? So that's your motion?
C is in C or S?
C is in the
Letter
letter
C.
after B, so it's capital C, capital B, Builders
Is it Russell Cartwright?
LLC.
Yeah.
He built, gates, lubricants, and.
Okay.
Yeah, he also did Holger's Place, he did Rob Stanci's Place, I think Fast Torque also, and Sherry Gates. I think those are the ones I know of.
Okay, Director Carlisle included that company in his motion.
And the set aside of $2.572 million of district funds.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of approving it? And it is unanimous, thank you. Now we go to 13. Okay.
I'm sorry, okay, 13, nothing to report on the incentive agreement. We know it's signed, we've got a copy of it back, but it's clearly in Sweden somewhere, so we gotta track that down. So, in any event, it is executed, we just don't have a copy. The Olive Garden incentive agreement, it has been executed, signed, and it's back to us, so that can come off the agenda for next month. The incentive agreement with Feel Better Consulting is signed and executed, and that's back to us. We're not executing on the incentive agreement with them yet. She has some difficulty with some of her tenants that she wants to work out first before we get to a point that we want to fund some build outs with her. So we're letting them get through that process first. Incentive agreement with La Casita was signed this evening and we presented them a check. We're done with them. Incentive agreement with HEB, we don't have a 1295 presented, so we can't act on that at this time. The last item is the incentive agreement with J. Harper Land Management, which is the redevelopment of the site of the old O'Reilly's and additional building being built behind there. And we're proposing to provide $20,000 in incentive funds, 0.5% sales tax rebate on businesses that locate within there for the first 5 years. And then finally, $1,000 a year into our scholarship foundation for the first 5 years.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve that. Motion by Director Pearson, second by Director Carlisle. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, number 14 is reporting on the activities in the industrial park.
First with Salt Technologies, Agent Security, they still haven't executed their agreement and put it in the title company yet, but it is in their office. And I know their attorney is working through some other language, but we haven't received anything back from them yet. The second item is Noble Mexican Food Products. That's the tamale man manufacturer. It's going out to the industrial park. He's executed all of his documents and it's currently in the title company, so we should have him closed here in the next 30 days. And that's all I've got on that section.
Okay, so what about the CD&E? Nothing?
Those are all on hold pending recording of the plats.
Perfect. Okay, the last item is matters for placement on future agendas.
I don't have any particular items, but I want to check a couple of dates with you guys.
Okay.
The first item is to kind of go through a summary and go through our fire and ice event and look at how we want to do that again next year. If we don't, we need to have that discussion at least at some point. We'd like to do that on the 26th of November. Is everybody in town? That would just kind of be a workshop item and.
What time?
Just same time, 5:30, is that good? You guys rather do a lunch or it is Monday, the 26th.
I can't do a lunch, that's my construction day, but
I can do the evening.
The evening good? You wanna do an evening thing? It shouldn't take long. Okay. Oh, okay, all right,
I'm gonna plan on coming back the day after Thanksgiving, but I have no guarantees.
okay. When is next?
So are we on to
The
that?
23rd.
Okay.
I'm not planning on coming back, but I don't know for sure. But don't, I mean, y'all can still have it without me, that's all right.
Okay, y'all wanna do the 26th? Does that work okay?
Lunchtime?
Dinner or evening, do evening?
Either one's good.
Okay.
I do lunchtime.
Is that okay, evening okay? All right.
5:30.
5:30? 26, okay.
Where at?
Well, right here.
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
And then in December, we need to move our December board meeting around. Brenda, I talked to you a little bit about moving it to the 4th or the 6th. And that hasn't worked out. Our consultants have some conflicts there. So would everybody be okay if we looked at doing the 17th possibly?
Mm-hmm.
Would that work? A little bit later in the month? December 17th for our December board meeting?
What day is that?
Monday.
Monday?
Monday?
Monday.
Mm-hmm, that's good.
No?
It's okay with me.
I've got a concert on the 18th.
That's the next day.
at 5:30?
17th, 5:30. Is everybody else, everybody good? You good?
I can't do that one, but.
I'm good for any time, any day.
You're so easy. Martin, is that good for
I
you?
can't do it on that. Yeah.
Okay, is that good for y'all? It's not good for you, Richard?
No. I got anything.
Okay.
But, you know, I have no objection. We're probably not gonna find a perfect date. but-
17th.
Especially not December.
I'm
Catherine,
sorry.
does that work for you?
Yeah. You
And
can
Deb?
keep
So
my
we're
word.
canceling our 13th.
School board meeting that night. Yeah, let's do it without me. I'll try to get here.
Are we meeting on December the 13th?
No.
No. That's the groundbreaking for Kelsey Seabold.
Good, man.
That was supposed to be our meeting night. That's what we're.
Yeah. So if the 17th is good,
What happened to the 13th?
that's Kelsey Seabold. Oh, because he said that it conflict with the consultants that are supposed to be here.
Oh, I see.
That's why he said why he needs to move it.
Well, I'm fine with the 17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, we're just missing.
Just
Fred
two.
And Richard, that's it.
No, Dale and Richard. Fred said he's got a concert the next day. The
The
18th.
17th is
We'll
okay?
have practice that time. We practice every Monday morning.
Okay, well, we still have a quorum.
I can, oh, yeah, you shouldn't have practice at all.
Okay.
Yeah, because the rest of it, I mean, it's Christmas right after that, so There's not gonna be a perfect day, so. Yeah.
Would y'all want to move it back a couple of days to the 19th? Could we do a Wednesday evening, the 19th? What?
19th not good for me. If I'm the only one, so be it.
19th, I'm gonna be here.
Martin, can you do the 19th?
I'm good.
19th, Catherine?
You don't have to, Carl, it's gonna be late.
All right, let's try the 19th. At least we can get most of you here, okay? All right. And the reason we want to try to book that as soon as possible, because that's the night we present the checks to our grant recipients. And again, we want to make sure that, we get that out to them so they can be here and all that kind of stuff.
That's December?
December 19th.
What?
Okay, so,
Oh, and that evening, we'd like to plug in our zone meetings, like starting about 4 o'clock. Does that work okay?
Yeah.
Dale, you're laughing, but I just kind of want to check.
I'm laughing because I've scheduled this like 4 times now.
no, we're just.
Can you do some meetings on the 19th?
Yeah, but I keep making changes.
Yeah,
4
4
o'clock.
4 o'clock for the zones, and then 5:30 for MSED. And then we really got to do these zone meetings like every 2 or 3 years.
Once a year, probably we should. The zone meeting, the first one will take a little longer because we'll go through all the documents and then the second, third, and fourth ones is like the motions are done.
Okay, you can cover zone meetings, but not the, okay.
Okay.
I don't know that I've made one of those. so-
No, I think you're still not on the board.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about that.
No, you did, I think you can get you on the board.
Uh,
It's the board of the zone, it's the same as the board of the EMCID.
Okay, so I guess I'll put down a.
Okay, so the 19th at 4 o'clock and then at 5:30.
We can do it as late as 4:30, if that helps.
4 o'clock's good.
Dale's already got it on his calendar, he don't want to change it again.
Do it at 4 o'clock. If you can do 4.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
I got it before.
Okay, so the 19th at 4 and 5:30.
Thank you.
We're done. Okay, what else?
That's it.
Is that it? Anybody else have anything else?
Is that the zones meeting?
Yes.
All of them,
All of
all
them.
4 zones.
1 through 4.
And I'm just doing them all the same time?
One at a
It
time.
doesn't matter.
So you gotta post the 10 minutes apart?
Yes.
November the 26th, we got a bar and ice meeting.
Uh-huh. 5:30.
Yes.
5:30.
Yes.
And the 19th, we got a board meeting.
We got 4 board, 4 o'clock and 5:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
December 19th.
Yes,
Yes.
December 19th.
Yes.
And then, what we got on the 25th, Santa Claus?
I think you're good.
We're gonna have Christmas on the 25th this year.
Okay, we are recessed at 8:05. Good night.